Chances are that, yes, come tomorrow or come the day after, we might be looking for a body.
We don't have time to muck around, so we're just going to go straight over to the golf course and try and pick somewhere there suitable just to offload these two so we can get back into recover the other two.
Rescue 84, copy that. They're going to go to the golf course instead. They don't have time.
We've heard a call. We're just trying to figure out if it's an echo off another team or it's a genuine call, so we're just going to search the area.
A big team of police, SES and rural fire officers continue their search for James McGrath.
He was seen 9:30 a.m. on the day that he disappeared at the bottom of this track. He would have above average fitness for his age, even though he's 65. But because of his medical condition, that would now start to be having an impact on what he's able to do and how he's able to reason and those sorts of things.
He's now missed out on 3 days of medication, which suppresses his anxiety. He'd be scared, plus he hasn't eaten for the 3 days. That alters his blood sugar levels, which increases confusion on top of his Alzheimer's and the lack of medication. So everything starts playing against him.
With nightfall closing in, Warren is racing against the clock, using his local knowledge to focus the search on key areas.
I've sort of advised the police of all the different roads and tracks and caves and all those types of things where people would walk and head through. Down on the bottom here, it's just a lot of very heavy area. There's a few culverts around and drains that go where people could slip over the side. If he has fallen over and taken an attack or something like that, he has dropped into the vegetation. It is very thick. It hasn't had fires through this area for 30 or 40 years that I know of. And quite obviously it's that thick that if you slipped over the edge, you wouldn't see him. You could walk straight past him, wouldn't even know he was there.
Police are now checking caves for any sign of him.
Cave here doesn't look like it's been used for a while. All this rubbish is fairly week, 2 weeks old. So yeah, it looks like he hasn't been through here.
But then, from deep in the forest, they hear a distant cry.
We've heard a call. We're just trying to figure out if it's an echo off another team or it's a genuine call, so we're just going to search the area, see what we've got. I'll get back to CP and see if we've got another team in the area.
CP to search team 1.
Rescue coordinator Sergeant Emmanuel Vasosa and his team have been unable to locate the voice they thought was James McGrath's. As light fades on the mountain, so does hope of finding the 65-year-old alive. It's a nightmare for James's desperate family.
I'd never want anyone to go through this, never. It's awful not knowing.
But just as police prepare to call off the search, there's a breakthrough.
Just wait there. Okay. Found him.
Local man and his son have spotted James.
So Kim and I decided to go and have a look on our own bat, and we got over the bit of a crest of the hill there, and we could hear
slight echo.
Echo like help, and we stood still for a while, and it happened again. So we sort of headed towards that way.
Police know where James is, but have no idea what condition he's in.
Is somebody with it?
Yeah. Which way? On the top
With temperatures now falling, the rescue is becoming more critical by the minute. Rescuers have finally reached 65-year-old grandfather James McGrath.
Everybody's been looking for you.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
At last, he's in safe hands.
But he looks terrible with all the mud on his face. And obviously he's been trying to drink.
But because of his dementia, James has no idea where he is. Having wandered for 3 days in the bush, he's ended up little more than 1 kilometre from his own home.
It wasn't far. You almost made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very close.
So all I've done is put up some fluids just to tidy things up. This will just give him an internal drink rather than external. His heart's fine. Everything's fine.
Way to go, way to go. What's the ditch?
Yeah, fantastic result. Heading on towards 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Sun's going down behind the mountain. Starting to get very cold out there. So I think family, police, SES, all the rescuers, everyone's just so relieved that he's been found.
Mandy receives an update from Police Rescue in the Blue Mountains, who are searching for missing American Kevin Moran.
What's happening?
Kevin, who's an engineer, managed to get through to police using his mobile. The but they still can't get a fix on his position.
We believe that he went into the bush on Saturday afternoon, and of course Saturday was fairly warm, and then Sunday it's come over raining. At this stage, we can't conduct a helicopter search because of the weather.
Yep.
So we're conducting a land search into that area with police rescue.
Mandy and John are heading to the Blue Mountains to join the search. Kevin went walking alone 2 days ago. He told no one and went totally unprepared.
Track put out. There's no actually defined track.
Superintendent Mark McCullum has been monitoring Kevin's calls for help to 000.
Generally speaking, mobile phones don't work in those areas because of the terrain. So we're just lucky that this fellow, in fact, was able to get out on a mobile phone. The signal from these mobile phone has been triangulated from a tower here and a tower here to be in this target area here.
It's a huge area to search.
There's boulders, there's trees. It was foggy and I lost it. But that was the sort of messages that were coming to us. Nothing distinctive as to where he was.
If Kevin's battery dies, and without his phone to provide a fix, another day out here could prove fatal.
Chances are that, yes, come tomorrow or come the day after, we might be looking for a body.
When Mandy arrives at the Blue Mountains search base, she receives some great news.
We found him. We found him.
Is he well? Is he not well?
Yes, he's fine.
Excellent.
He's fine. He's a bit wet. He's a bit tired. He's a bit scratched, but otherwise he's okay.
Well done.
Kevin's also hungry and dehydrated. He's told rescuers he walked about 40 kilometres, but he's really been wandering in circles for 3 days.
It's taken our rescue guys about 3.5 hours to get to there.
How far is that from where he left to where he is?
It's only about 2 kilometres all up,
Okay.
really, in real terms.
The search team has found him alive and just devising a method of retrieval.
But with bad weather closing in, it'll be tough getting Kevin out before nightfall.
The ground party are going to let off a flare just so Polly know exactly where they are.
If Polly can't see the flare, they'll have to pull out, leaving Kevin and his rescuers a 5-hour walk in the dark, or maybe another freezing night in the bush.
Yeah, Polly, we'll just do a quick assessment of it and just see what we think here, and we'll get back to you. But we definitely do have the 3 persons located as a group together, and we'll just do an assessment on the recovery of all 3 persons.
After 3 days in freezing conditions, Kevin Moran is finally on board Polair. But now there's another drama unfolding. The clouds are so low, the pilot can't see the landing site. He's virtually flying blind.
We've just got to guide him in by watching where they are and which way they're travelling, all sort of stuff.
Polly 5, just with the cloud about, we don't have time to muck around, so we're just going to go straight over to the golf course and try and pick somewhere there suitable just to offload these 2 so we can get back into recover the other 2.
Rescue 84, copy that. They're going to go to the golf course instead. They don't have time.
It's a frustrating moment. As police race to the golf course, this rescue is far from over. Polair finally lands, carrying rescued American bushwalker Kevin Moran.
You must be Kevin.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Mandy.
Meet you.
It's John.
How you going? Sergeant Wheeler, pleased to meet you, hey?
You look great, considering.
Kevin might look all right, but he's shivering under his borrowed jacket, and there's the possibility that he's in shock and suffering hypothermia.
He made a platform for the night, and he was a bit cold, and we cooked him up a feed, and
Oh, you good?
and got him.
Yeah. This is this morning you cooked him up?
sustenance. Yeah.
That's great.
We got to him about lunchtime, so
So he obviously just intended to go for the day.
day trip. Yeah.
A one-day trip that turned into a 3-day nightmare. It's clear to everyone how incredibly lucky Kevin has been to survive.
Did you have any food with you?
I had one muesli bar. Another 12 or 24 hours might have been a different story.
I'm amazed at how well he's come through it all. Apart from a few scratches on his hands, he's fine. I worry for him, though, maybe this afternoon, because he's got no family here, his family are overseas. If he was to sort of sit around, that's when it might all hit him. So we've given him the number of a support service that we use, and hopefully he'll be in touch with that and he can share his experience with somebody. What he's been through, amazing. Amazing. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't come out that good, I don't think. But case closed.
Detective Senior Sergeant Jim Ryan is working on the puzzling case of missing Opal miner Paul Lubber. Paul worked his mine near Winton, 1,500 kilometres northwest of Brisbane, an area so remote that only a skilled bushman like him could survive.
It wasn't uncommon for him to walk into town the 60 kilometres, have a few drinks and walk back the next day.
But one day, a year ago, Paul walked off into the desert and never came back.
There's a little bit of fresh information that would indicate that he did make it back to his camp. However, that hasn't been verified. There's sufficient there to warrant a further search. It's pretty rugged and pretty inhospitable terrain, so we're going to try again and see if we can turn anything up.
Jim Ryan's first port of call in Winton is local policeman Tony McDowell, who's been looking for Paul Laba for over a year.
Jim Ryan from Missing Persons, how are you?
Paul vanished on a remote cattle property 120 kilometres north of Winton. Police found his abandoned car on a bush track. 14 kilometres away, they found the car's broken radiator.
I think he might have been carrying it out and it's just got too much for him and he's left it hanging in a tree on the road.
Police have now received information that on the morning before he disappeared, Paul talked to a farmer who noticed something unusual. The 76-year-old was wearing boots.
The property owner that spoke to him on the morning that his car broke down remembers him wearing the boots and was quite specific about it because normally he's barefoot. And he saw him wearing these fairly brand new boots and that's the tread pattern that we found in the bush, and they found him back at his campsite.
So Tony thinks Paul made it from his abandoned car back to his camp and Opal mine before he disappeared. Tony and Jim checked Paul Laba's camp to see if he's been back since the last police visit a few months ago.
The black box up at the top here, that's his meat safe. There is salted meat up there. And he had other dry veggies and that, so he had plenty of food here.
Nothing's been touched since Tony's last visit and since Paul went missing over a year ago. With plenty of food and all his personal belongings still here, Paul's disappearance just doesn't add up.
Over here's where I found his bank book and some medication and that.
The bank book is a major find. Without access to his money, Paul can't have been planning to leave his camp for long. So tomorrow's search in a new area where Paul's radiator was found could be Jim's best chance of solving the case. Tony and Jim have driven even further into the Queensland desert,
his car and his trailer,
to the remote spot where Paul Laba abandoned his car on his way to his other campsite.
Another 20k up the back here, he's got an old campsite, and what he told the property owner, he was headed up there to pick up some gear that he left behind originally, some bedding, stuff like that for his own camp where he is now.
But Paul never made it. His car broke down here, 20 kilometres from the nearest road.
Now, his footprints were found along the track here, heading over to the ball, and then that's where they disappear. And then they're picked up again on the other side of the bush, that bit of a hill range where his fence line is.
Tony's about to brief the SES volunteers who will help search the surrounding desert for Paul Laba.
He was known to walk great distances.
We know he's a fairly tough old bugger, so if anyone can survive out there in the bush, Paul can.